Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the most professional podcast on the face of the internet. It is the Three Donkeys. My name is Adam Levitan, as always, joined by Jonathan Bales, by Peter Jennings. Appreciate everyone who tuned into episode 1. We actually got a lot of positive feedback. I'm always amazed by how many people want to hear us basically just fuck around for an hour, but here we are. Peter, how's it going?
Great. Been traveling like crazy, but happy to be home and another good day, another tough weekend ahead of me. So, yeah. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing good, yes. Peter has been gallivanting, as Ashley would say, all over God's green earth here, but we are back after a bit of a hiatus from the podcast. I'm doing well. Bales, how's it going?
Doing well. Yeah, I've been fishing a bit. Florida is getting pretty humid this time of year, but doing well overall.
For you guys watching on YouTube, you might think, what is Bales doing in a hotel room in Miami when he has an apartment in Miami? He told us he was renting an office specifically to record Three Donkeys. I didn't realize it was actually going to be a hotel room. So now Bales has a luxury apartment in Philadelphia, 2 luxury condos put together into one in Miami, and access to this hotel to record Three Donkeys specifically. Is that right, Bales?
Well, this is a unique situation where I'm in this room right now. But it's more or less correct.
Okay. I want to start with a little bit about what's been going on in our life. Peter, part of the trips that he was doing was in Montana. I actually don't know too much about what's going on there outside of the general idea of it. Peter, why don't you tell the people what you were doing in Montana a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was really fun. The first year I've been, it's called the AP Summit, and basically just a lot of professional gamblers hanging out. And
real quick, AP stands for Advantage Player, but go ahead.
Correct. So yeah, it was so well done. A bunch of really good people. Captain Jack, Rufus Peabody were both there, who I work with at Unabated. And yeah, a bunch of great guys. Guy got to golf for a couple of days. So there's a variety of things that people can do for advantage play. A lot of people play blackjack or have other advantages within the casino. A lot of these people have actually really gotten into sports as well, which is interesting. But probably the coolest story from it, the first day we were golfing, and one of the guys who put it on is from England and really super nice guy, really into golf. And then Rufus, and then this guy, Kyle, who was a really nice guy. And I couldn't believe how well he could see the ball. It was like unbelievable. We were playing in kind of like a links golf course, and shots would go into the hay. There's shots that like went into like bushes and whatnot. And this guy could just see every shot. He's like, oh yeah, it's in that bush. It's right here. And we're talking like 3 feet of grass. He like walks up to it and he's like, yeah, I saw it going like right here. Here it is. And like, if you play a lot of golf, like some people can like see the ball pretty well and like have a general idea. This guy knew exactly where it was. Well, come to find out, he's known as like one of the best, if not the best hole carders in the world. So that's a specific skill where they can normally see the cards that people are dealing where other people can't. So not shocking that after learning that, I'm like, oh, it makes sense that you have the best eyes I've ever seen. So it was a great time, learned a lot, and it was mostly just hanging out. It wasn't like a ton of business or talking shop. There was a little bit of that, but Whitefish, Montana, couldn't recommend that place anymore. It was light outside until like 10:15 at night. So that was pretty wild.
I really want to go to Montana. I thought you were going to say that guy was a caddy, because I do have a professional caddy friend, and he can also spot a ball wherever it goes.
This was on another level. Like I've played with like good caddies and like other like really good golfers, like can really watch the ball. I mean, we're like 230 yards out, and he's like, yeah, it's in this bush. And it's like, what are you talking about? And like, it was incredible.
Were most of the people there have an advantage in casinos? Like,
I think that's where the majority of people got started. I think there's a high overlap with people who've done blackjack now or in the past. But a lot of people have gotten into sports. So there's quite a bit of chatter about just betting sports and the opportunities and how to have longevity and things of that nature.
So people like get up and give presentations like, I have an edge in video poker here.
No, zero of that.
Okay.
There's literally like no presentations. There's like, we had like little golf tournaments. They went on hikes. We had these dinners, and like, it was great. There's a poker tournament, but it wasn't like presentations and like, you're hearing people talk about what they do, but there's a disincentive a lot of times if you have like a unique edge to talk about it and to talk about it even further with like, people who would really know how to exploit it. But yeah, there's a lot of people who knew each other and friends, and it was honestly a really good time. I got to stay with Rufus, so it was great to see him, and yeah, we had a great time overall.
When they come to ask you questions, do they ask you how were you so sharp to get into Poodle, or what kind of questions did they ask you?
Yeah, I do think that there's a correlation with that summit and some of these DFS events or betting events or year-round poker players. Last year, everyone was feeling pretty flush, and this year, I think people were pinching pennies just a little bit more with what's going on in crypto. But yeah, people actually knew about like Fantasy Labs, and I don't think there are many fans of like some of the Action Network. I'm very proud of what we built, but I don't think the average AP is a huge fan of sites like that. But yeah, it was cool. I mostly talked about business and sports, and I've done a little bit of the blackjack stuff, but not to the extent that these guys have.
Cool. One question for you guys: when markets are down, or you've lost a bunch of money or whatever, like mentally, I'm sure you sort of separate your gambling bankroll from like everyday expenses or whatever. How does that affect your everyday expenses? If it does, are you more likely to try to save money? You say you're on like a really big downswing. How does that affect you mentally, and how does that affect what your children are eating?
I was laughing while you're asking that because I can just picture Ashley in my mind, be like, "Fucking Peter, all our money in Luna, and now I can't have my fucking bag."
So I think my behavior changes. I don't think Ashley's behavior changes, which is a constant topic of conversation in the Jennings household. But yeah, I think broadly, I think one reason I've been able to have somewhat sustained success is that the wins don't really like I never have splurged or like done anything like super crazy. I definitely live like a really I think like a good lifestyle, nice lifestyle. I like to spend and go out to eat to dinner, but like I was never buying like jewelry or crazy. I mean, I have a nice car, but I wouldn't like go out and buy like a Lambo, for instance. And yeah, I just like to spend on like experiences. And then when things are going poorly, I generally just try to buckle down and work really hard. That's like my tendency is if things go poorly. Like I think last year I got a little too content and certainly didn't have the work ethic that I've had for the last 10 years. And now this year I'm working a lot harder again. So for me, my biggest behavior change is on the losing side. I just try to work harder. I don't really spend that much differently. I mean, we just did like 4 vacations or something. I mean, I've been traveling like crazy. But I try not to spend lavishly on the way up, although, you're more primed to do a really nice dinner maybe when things are going well.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that like when things are quote unquote down, to me, those are like long-term things. In other words, I'm not trading, like I'm not in there with Bales and like Tickcoin being like, oh, Floyd Mayweather's fighting tonight. Let me buy some Tickcoin and then sell it 3 hours later. Like, that's not what I'm doing.
Yeah, I bought it the night before.
The night before, sorry. So to me, it's just all numbers on a screen. So I had no plans to sell any of my crypto. I had no plans to sell any of my stocks anytime the next 10, 15 years anyways. So, I don't think it would change or should really change my behavior, like I'm not like withdrawing from my investment accounts to live, so yeah, I don't know. I don't think it really affects my behavior at all.
What about you, Bales?
Yeah, I asked because I have I don't spend that much money on myself. Like in terms of like actual physical things, I spend almost no money on myself outside of like I buy sneakers. Art. Otherwise, it's like some art, which has resale value, I guess. But experienced stuff, like I like to go to sporting events and like to travel and things like that. But I do notice myself when I have less money, then I spend a little bit more. And when things are going well, I tend to save. It's like the opposite, I guess.
Really?
Yeah.
You tend to save more.
Maybe it's like a retail therapy type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, now you're talking Ashley's language.
But it's like things like crypto goes down and I buy a pair of sneakers or something. It's not like.
Oh, just the emotional thing. That sounds like Ashley.
Yeah.
She's in a bad mood. She goes to the mall and blasts off, and then she feels better for about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
It's like it's basically like a coke addiction.
Yeah.
Sneakers.
My whole thing is the Bill Perkins thing. Like, if thinking about spending money on a curve, in other words, when I'm 40, I'm more likely to spend a lot more money now because I can do more. When I'm 70, I'm not like spending money on experiences because A, could be dead, or B, could be like crippled. I mean, who knows what could happen in that time. So like, I'm actively like trying to spend no matter what the thing is, just because like I think now is the best time to spend the money. It's the best time of well, I would say my high school days were the best days of my life, which Lauren gets so pissed about when I say that, but I'm still in the good range of my life. And so whereas by the time I get, I don't want to just like save. Then I turn 70. I'm like, oh, great. I got all this money, but I can't do anything because I'm in a wheelchair or whatever, like that would be a disaster. So.
That's why it's so important to spend on experiences, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, skiing, golf, all that, like that's stuff that like I think my behavior is pretty constant in that regard. Like
for sure.
Always wanted to blast off on that stuff.
We got a question from Scott. Shout out to Scott. If you guys remember the first edition of Three Donkeys, Scott the intern, did a great job for us. I think he's asking you, Bales, how much is your rod and reel? In other words, you're doing all this fishing. Have you gone nuke on your rod and reel?
I think this one's actually for Peter. You're a big fisherman, Peter.
Big fisherman.
Well,
how much is your rod cost, bud?
Dude, I have about.
How long is your rod?
I have.
Oh, baby.
It's an average size rod, but it's thick. It's a thick, strong rod.
Really sturdy rod.
But it's average, maybe slightly below average. Well below average. No, it's a good rod. Now I probably have 30 rods now or something.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
how do you pick which one to use?
It depends on where you're fishing. I mean, you can't like use like a deep sea rod in a creek in Philly. There's different rod types.
What kind of fish do you catch in the creeks in Philly?
Trout, bass, sunfish,
bodies, human bodies,
fish. Yeah, sometimes a lot of cans.
I'm actually
to answer the question. I don't have one that's super expensive. Maybe $300 is the most expensive of, which is like it's a really good rod, but it's not like crazy.
Just to wrap up the life update portion of the show here. Finally, at long last, I can no longer inseminate after like thinking about getting a vasectomy for 2 years, like going over all the pros and cons, researching it, going through the procedure, getting tested, doing all the fucking tests and ejaculates. Finally, yesterday, I got the all clear that I am no longer able to impregnate, which honestly was like best news I've had in so long. And so
and you're traveling soon. You got a little vacation. This sounds like a wax.
And I'm doing my 40th birthday trip, leaving tomorrow to an undisclosed European destination for a 40th birthday trip. I actually don't turn 40 until September, but obviously don't travel during an NFL season because I have serious problems and a gambling addiction. So I won't be traveling during an NFL season. We're doing our 40th birthday trip this week, so I'll be leaving tomorrow. I'll be gone for a week. Yes, coinciding with the ability to finish without inseminating, I guess I would say is the most appropriate way.
And how's your rod? Is it, would you say your rod is as good as new, or there's some issues? There's a lot of wear and tear on the rod now.
there's a lot of wear and tear for sure, man. And a lot of people have asked me this, like, does it feel different after the vasectomy? I honestly, like, I feel like maybe a little like weird, like stretching sensation, but I really think it's in my head because like if you talk to 1,000 people or 1,000 doctors who have had or done vasectomies, like there should be no change whatsoever. So I think it's really just in my head. So yeah, I don't know. I'm happy I did it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it to everyone. So I don't know, man. If my pullout game was stronger, I wouldn't have done it. I just don't trust myself. So that's really the bottom line.
This might be inappropriate, but Peter, the pullout thing to me is so easy.
Oh, so easy,
dude. Yes.
I think my pullout game is A+. I mean,
it's not that hard.
Yeah, speak for yourself, bro.
You can't.
My results, I have a perfect track record, so but I think there's a little more danger than I think there's some danger lurking if you're going to play that game.
Yeah, that is
for a
not a
sustained
good
period of time.
That is not a good game to play at all. And I know vasectomies are way up based on the whole Roe versus Wade thing. I know the doctor I used said he was like inundated as soon as that Roe versus
Really?
Wade. Yeah, I mean everybody's getting vasectomies now. Yeah, I mean I think for obvious reasons. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Have we found the bottom? We're not here to time the market. We have no financial advice whatsoever. But I just want to say, you guys made fun of me so much. Bales would always say, "Oh, Levitan always says he can't buy crypto because the cab driver and his friends from high school and his mom are all talking about crypto now. It's everywhere, right?" And I may have missed some run up on that, but in the end, Bales, in the end, when all these fucking jackasses, all these normies, as we would call them, are talking about fucking not just fucking Bitcoin. Normies were talking about like fucking altcoins and DeFi and all kinds of crazy shit. Things were clearly out of control. I'd rather buy, and I have no idea if we're at the bottom or not. I'd rather buy when the rhetoric around crypto or stocks or whatever now is it's over. This is all scam the whole time. Anyways, this is when I would rather buy. I know you guys just relentlessly made fun of me for being scared to buy when everybody else in the world, when there's a ticker on CNBC with the fucking Bitcoin price, et cetera. So how do you respond to all that, Bales? And do you think that now is maybe a time to be quote unquote hungry when everyone else is bloody or whatever? I don't know what the Warren Buffett.
Yeah, the Warren Buffett is it's time to be greedy when others are fearful.
I believe the quote is hungry when others are bloody. By Warren Buffett.
I don't know. To be bloody when others are hungry. Be hungry.
I couldn't think of the saying.
You want to come here for contrarian financial advice? Be hungry when others are bloody.
We got to snort out of Bales. Yes.
I can't stop this story. For the record, the first time that this conversation that I remember happening, we were playing racquetball, and Ethereum was, I specifically remember $83,
yeah.
And Bitcoin was like around 1,300, something like that. And I was like, "Hey, you should buy this," and you said, "I don't think so. It's too late."
I remember that.
I remember that too.
I remember our conversation. And then he got in at the KuCoin stages like 6 months later.
So, I don't know how to time like the market bottom or something. I don't know. There's people that know way more than me, but yeah, I don't know.
Well, part of the issue is the bubble thing, right? Like sometimes I feel like everybody's talking about X, but just because I'm in this bubble, right? But if I went out to the real world, like if you went out to the real world, like, you know, people wouldn't even be talking about crypto. Like I saw some tweets from some big crypto guy. He was like, "You guys don't even realize I went on vacation for 4 months. Nobody out there in the real world is like talking about crypto. This is all like in a bubble," which I don't think was true. Like at the end there, where it was like getting more mainstream. But yeah, it's I for sure am in bubble. Like think too much. I just interact with all people that are so into this stuff.
Yeah, there's also like probably the people that are going to be buying huge amounts are already in, and those like the average retail investor buying like $200 of Bitcoin or something is not going to move the price that much.
Right. I don't know. Peter, any thoughts?
Yeah, I have a ton of thoughts actually. So I vividly remember, I think it was September or October. I think it was October actually of 2017. We had just sold Fantasy Labs. We were out there with the churn-in guys and all the people that formed Action Network. And we had Bales had this great craps run, and we had a great night. And I think the next day, Bales, we went back to like play a little craps to see if we could get the same thing that we had the night before, where you rolled for like 45 minutes. Of course, we didn't roll for as long, but every single dealer was like, "Yeah, I'm in XRP. I'm in Tron. I mean, what are you in?" They're asking us, and Bales and I were like, "Oh yeah, we like crypto too. Have you heard of KuCoin?" Or like, what? I don't even remember what we said, but like we were talking crypto, and then we walked away. And we looked at each other like, "Yeah, that's probably a pretty bad sign with the craps dealer."
Exactly.
Like,
yeah, we got out. It was early January. We sold a huge amount because of that, but looking at past indicators of like what, like it's different now. That the average person didn't know about crypto before. Now they do. I don't know.
Yeah. So I think last year we had an everything bubble, and a lot of stuff's come out. I mean, there's data that came out about like the PPP loans. Almost all that money went to the business owners and was like disproportionately distributed to wealthy people already. And they had like a 90% plus loan forgiveness rate. So you gave these people all this money. I mean, there's a ton of factors. Obviously, the low interest rates and just it created an asset bubble, and of course crypto got buoyed by that. A lot of smart people were talking about how this is a bubble and whatnot, and it's hard in the moment. It's hard to kind of understand what's happening, and obviously we've had quite a bit of pain so far this year. But yeah, in terms of timing the bottom, it's a really, really tough thing to do, and broadly timing the markets is not a great idea. I think just having a long time horizon makes a lot of sense. The thing that's scariest to me that I'm following closely, and they've talked, Friedberg's talked quite a bit about on the All In podcast, is consumer credit. And that's the thing that I'm really paying attention to. And it just keeps going up. And it makes sense. People got used to a certain lifestyle, and now, their asset prices and their savings and all these things have gone down. And instead of changing their lifestyle, they're continuing to spend, which is why we have all this good consumer data. And they're like, oh, America still has this great consumer. And maybe that is true long term. But a big factor that I think could bleed into more carnage this year is this consumer credit problem. Yeah. So there's a ton of factors, but that's one thing that I don't think gets talked about enough. Everyone's talking about Ukraine and Russia and commodities and gas prices, but the consumer credit thing is concerning to me after the helicopter money last year.
Oh, I think that's a concern. I also think that the housing market is a concern. I mean, people's houses going up 50, 75% in a year, like that's not sustainable. All that's going to come down as well, especially as rates go up. I feel like people can't afford as much. Prices have to come down. So I don't know, man. I think that there's still room for worry, but I honestly don't know. And like I said at the beginning, I'm not trying to time anything.
And then it does feel like it could go down like another 50% to me or something.
Specifically crypto. So I think the S&P 500 and broad markets, real estate, there's a lot of things to look at there. And I agree with you, Adam. If you look at all the asset classes, real estate has held up the best. And obviously there's a lag there. So I had some concerns. Same thing in the All In podcast. They talked about how there's so much corporate real estate that's going vacant in San Francisco. I think they said like 30 million square feet, and there's like 75 million square feet in the city. So that's a crazy number, and that can have, a lot of cascading effects. But crypto specifically, I think the most interesting thing that's happening now is we saw all the contagion from the Luna ecosystem and what happened with UST. And what I think is cool, but also really bad and unfortunate, is that the DeFi protocols that are truly decentralized, like Aave, Uniswap, et cetera, they've continued to hum and work as they should. Those are over collateralized, decentralized protocols, and there has not been issues with those. But we have seen massive issues with the centralized protocols and some of these VCs. I mean, Three Arrows Capital, we saw the BlockFi news, the Celsius news, the Voyager news, and they're hyper correlated. Yep, they're hyper correlated, and obviously a lot of them had assets within the Terra ecosystem, getting that yield and basically taking consumer deposits and putting it there. So the centralized exchanges actually caused a lot of the damage, which is just classic greed. And I certainly am guilty of making mistakes too, but I think that's one interesting thing. And it actually gives me optimism. I think DeFi is a really cool application within crypto. And I think that was that plus NFTs are like definitely two really nice innovations. But, we needed this pain. Things need to be flushed out. Hopefully we continue to see more innovation. And, I thought there was more substance in this bull run than 2017. And hopefully going forward, we'll have more substance in the next run up if we have one. And the last thing I'll say is SBF did an interview, and he didn't say, hey, I think we're at the bottom. He just said that I don't see any reason why this couldn't be the bottom. He was explaining that like a lot of this stuff needed to be flushed out. And he even made a very specific point. He said, I'm not talking about the asymmetric aspect of this. Like obviously there's a lot of asymmetry within crypto. He's just saying the probabilities and whatever. And he said it certainly could go lower, but he doesn't see a reason why this couldn't be the bottom, whereas before there are so many things going on that needed to be flushed out.
Yeah, all the leverage stuff. Go ahead, Bales.
That's why I was gonna say that. Yeah, I mean, there's like huge leverage in lots of different markets, but in crypto especially. And then once that gets flushed out, then it's like, could it go lower? Of course it could, but then you don't need to like know the exact probability. Like, oh, it's 15% that it goes lower and 85% it goes higher. It's just like a general sense of what it's going to do based on like these big macro factors, and then you just like make a guess. I think type of thing. And yeah, I don't know where I stand exactly on it. I think it could definitely go lower, but the leverage is a huge factor.
Yeah, for sure. I just think like the pricing of a lot of things got decoupled from the product. In other words, like, man, like the products that were involved in crypto just weren't ready for things to be priced. And when like cartoons of apes are trading for $2 million, like you have a fucking problem. Like, it's fucking
Should have sold the CryptoPunk for $3 million. You're saying, Levitan.
yeah, well, exactly.
One last thing, just real quick. I do think there's still one thing that could be really damaging to the crypto ecosystem that, you know, has always had a lot of smoke and there's always been a lot of stories, but it's resurfacing and it's getting a lot of mainstream coverage, and that's Tether. And there is a really sophisticated group in New York that has like a multi-billion-dollar short on Tether that's out there. So that's another thing. Like, to me, there's a huge difference between Bitcoin and then all the other crypto assets right now. And even Gensler from the SEC talked about this. Like, I know these are a lot of polarizing topics, polarizing people, but if you are still really exposed to crypto and you're like, oh, this is the bottom, like, I think the best thing you can do is just look at your overall portfolio and think about like where you want your money allocated. Like,
do you have stables right now, Peter? And are you in USDC?
I've only been in USDC. I mean, after the Terra stuff, I really tried to, just being so close to it, I knew there'd be contagion, or I suspected there'd be contagion. So I delevered relatively, and I've basically just been dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin with some assets, and yeah, I have like an ETH USDC pool on Uniswap that's just collecting fees. But broadly, I'm in the position where I would like to accumulate crypto the rest of the year versus sell crypto.
Maybe people probably want to know, Peter, what the difference is between USDC and Tether.
Yeah, so USDC is actually backed 1-for-1 by US dollars. You know, Coinbase, there's a lot of funds. Circle is involved in. They have like very clear, transparent records that's backed by dollars. Tether has been a huge part of the crypto ecosystem for a long time, and there's always been a lot of scrutiny about what's actually behind it. You know, people suspect that maybe they only have 60 cents, 70 cents on the dollar backing all the Tether that's out there. There's other people who say this is Tether FUD. They're doing a great job, and like, they've always had redemptions. So it's a polarizing topic, and I certainly don't have conviction one way or the other. It's just, if something were to happen to Tether, that would have
disaster. Yeah,
more impacts on the overall crypto ecosystem than even probably Terra.
Oh. It's also a good example. Like, what do you think the probability is that Tether collapses? We have no idea. Like, we would just be guessing. But there seems to be more evidence that even if it's a complete FUD, there's more evidence that Tether could potentially have some problems than USDC, right? So then why would you keep any stables in Tether? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. All right. Enough crypto for one day. I want to talk about poker, man. Poker is big time, and I actually want to talk about through the lens of first the Barstool thing. I know I promised I'd talk about the 25K thing a little bit, but I know we know Smitty really well. Bales and I know Smitty from Philly. He's one of our good friends. Love Smitty. And last I checked, he was in day 3 with like 370K chips, which is a ton in the main event. But like, man, poker, second biggest main event ever. I think part of what's going on is people getting back into grinding, right? Like a lot of crypto bros, a lot of market bros who got wrecked recently are getting back in. But also, like, I don't know, I just feel like people are getting back into live poker, period. Like all these streamers like Ninja and all these guys are doing these like streamed games, getting millions of views. I don't know. I just feel like poker's having a renaissance. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Bales. And also that, you know, some of these idiot poker players, like I saw Ike Haxton, I can't believe he was like beaking at Barstool, like trying to make it out like it's a bad thing for poker. I mean, obviously Barstool pumping up poker is good for poker. Like, I don't know what Ike is.
I didn't see what did he say? He was just.
I'll pull up the quote. You can go ahead on it in general. I'll pull up Ike's quote. I was getting mad just fucking looking at it.
Yeah, I don't know too much about what's going on in poker. I think poker is like probably the best the best game that I've seen overall, even better than DFS in terms of strategy, game theory, like the probability of bad players losing and things like that. Is an amazing game. I suppose it makes sense. It seems to me that like some percentage of the population, like say 20% of people, like just love to gamble and stuff. And if the stock market is bad and crypto is bad, whatever, then they're going to just do something that they're going to gamble in other ways. And it could just be a function of that.
Yeah. Here's the quote from Hollywood Haxton, who's one of the best poker players ever. He said, "I'm really torn about this Barstool comes to poker arc. On one hand, stoolies are some of the last people I want to hang out with. On the other hand, they're some of the top people I want to play poker against. Like, you don't have to tap the tank. You don't, like, like, why be a dick to these guys who are just like literally growing the game? And I know Barstool's super polarizing, whatever. It's just, you don't have to like go out of your way to like be a dick to people who are like bringing people to poker, period.
I think that there's so much analysis of like, oh, this is the type of person that a stoolie is, like the type of person that reads Barstool. But like lots of smart people I know read Barstool. It's funny. But they don't fucking comment. Like no one knows that they read Barstool. So I think that it's like the typical population. Maybe it skews younger. There's a bunch of idiot people that read Barstool, but
for sure.
Yeah, saying it's not good for poker is like insane to me.
Right. It's so insane. And look at, I think there's a clear other example where, actually a crowd that normally is not as accepting as the poker community. Poker community should be open arms to every single person who wants to play. It's literally like the lifeblood of the industry. But like golf, pretty snooty thing. I think it's actually the game and like the PGA Tour, and I know there's all the live stuff going on right now, but like broadly, they've done a better job bringing in like the younger generation, but it still has been like more of a stuffy white person sport, whatever you want to say. Like there's all these issues with the game that they've been like really working on. And I think Tiger has been a huge part of like bringing more diversity to the game, making it cool, etc. And these guys love the Barstool guys, like absolutely love that the Barstool guys are bringing that audience to the game of golf. All the players, Tiger himself, like they're open arms, super happy to see them and like doing everything they can. They're doing all the content. Like that's like a perfect example of like, hey, here's an opportunity to grow the game to a different audience. And within poker, like how stupid you have to be. I mean, don't you want all these people from Barstool coming to play? Like, and the stereotype, like, yeah, perfect. Give me the ultimate bro at my poker table. That's like absolute nuts. So stupid from Ike, and I couldn't agree more, Adam. Tons of athletes have gotten into it. I think you hit the nail on that. The thing that I was going to bring up is these streamers. I mean, these are like the most influential people in the world now. I mean, the top YouTubers, they have more reach and clout and just like influence than like basically anybody in the world. I mean, it's like the top end athletes like LeBron and whoever else, Tom Brady, and then these streamers really that have that much influence. And the fact that they're playing poker, I think has been amazing for the game. And then you know, put in the factor that like maybe last year in particular with COVID and like everyone being crypto rich, now everyone's back to like want to grind. And I think we'll maybe see the same thing in DFS a little bit this year.
100%. I think DFS is going to be popping off. Hopefully it's popping off with the right people. There's some very, very, very good DFS players who kind of quit playing DFS because
they're
of crypto stuff. They're going to be back. That's not great for the games, but I do think generally the games will be bigger this year in NFL for sure.
Yeah.
Last thing I'd say about poker, like one thing I love about poker is like it's equal to everyone. If you have money, I've played against, obviously women, transvestites, all kinds of minorities, every minority, everybody's welcome at the poker table. Like you literally can't deny someone who shows up at the poker table. It's so inclusive and like, to try to exclude somebody because they're an idiot from Barstool allegedly or whatever. It's just so.
How many
you don't want to hang out with them? Like what is that?
Played against Levitan?
So there's a very, very good transvestite player in Pennsylvania that I played against a lot. Very, 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 very good. And so, I guess just one,
Nice.
but he or she was very, 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 very good. People kept asking about the 25K. I know the 25K thing sounded crazy to people. Like I had a really good year playing DFS last year. Won the 250 in the FanDuel thing, and like it just goes back to like what do I want to spend money on? Like for me, it's not flying first class. For me, it's not buying a Lambo. Like Peter said, it's none of that. It's I have an actual sickness. Like I just want to gamble and gamble bigger, and like so I get money. I'm like, well, I've always wanted to play one of these high rollers. Like I have a chance to do it now. Like let's just do it. So I thought it was more of an experience than like a money making thing. Obviously, I knew I was getting it in a little bad, but after playing, like I talked about this on the solo pod, you guys can go back and listen. I don't want to get too deep into it here, but if like Sean Deeb was like, oh, I think you're like 0.6 or something, like I would buy myself at 0.6 all day. I said after playing, I thought I was like 0.8, 0.85, something like that, and that's with no work being put in whatsoever to try to like get in.
Wait, you sold to me at even money.
Yeah, exactly.
Same here.
Yeah,
we know what we were getting.
Exactly.
I did tank. Normally I have the snap call, but I bought so many pieces in poker, and everyone who's not a professional has lost 100% of the time. And then I bought a piece of like someone who's actually good, our friend John Beaupre.
Yeah.
Shout out to Beaupre.
Yeah.
Took third in the 25K PLO event last year.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm only backing pros. And then I'm like, I guess I'm in.
You guys got a piece of Smitty? Because I got a nice piece of Smitty.
Oh, do you have a piece of Smitty?
He asks me every time. I can't say no. He's my friend.
Love it.
Great.
Love it.
And Adam, just real quick, as an aside, I noticed you had this great little short video on the 6 receivers that you love. You had this very crisp, nice white hat, but the 3 donkeys comes around and you said, I'm going to pull out is that the Reds hat, or which hat is that?
This is the FD hat. Yeah. No, I can't. I don't know where that hat is right now. The nice crisp one. That's true.
I'm going to buy, I need to figure out what hat you like. I'm going to buy you like 10 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good luck to Smitty, man. I don't know how serious Smitty is at poker, but this is why the main event is so beautiful. Even if he's not serious, like he can for sure go deep, and he has a ton of chips. Maybe we'll get him on one day here on the show to respond to Ike or whatever else we want to talk about Barstool stuff. I want to save a bunch of time for Lawton, but before we do that, I want to talk about the Crawley Town thing. So I don't know how many people out there know, but crypto people, or I don't even know about crypto people, just like gambling space people led by Preston Johnson, Sports Cheetah, and his partner, who I'm actually not too familiar with, but purchased a League 2 team not with Ethereum, but we essentially turned Ethereum into USD and then bought the team with USD. Is that a good way to describe it, Peter?
Yep, that's accurate.
Okay. So this team, and like League 2 is low. There's the Premier League, there's the Championship League, which is the one below Premier League. There is League 1, which is the one below that, and then there's League 2. Crawley Town is like a middling League 2 team. However, it's still pretty cool to own a piece of a sports team. I know you guys had the experience before with the New Zealand Breakers during the first run of the 3 donkeys. We talked about the Breakers a bunch. I don't know, Peter, can you compare this Crawley Town thing to the Breakers at all? And how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I think it's similar. It feels very similar to me personally, but I also think it's a really cool way to take crowdsourcing, which I think, obviously there's a lot of use cases for crypto, some of which were probably overblown, but the crowdsourcing element makes a ton of sense. And, we've seen some interesting thing with DAOs, and I was happy to be a part of it. And it seems pretty interesting. There's a lot of cool people in the investment group. So yeah, and Preston, I'm a huge fan of. I've had just a ton of good interactions with him. Just a great guy. So always down to back someone like that. And we also made a good sale. Like I didn't sell enough Ethereum at the top, so I guess we sold some near the top there.
Right, that was near the top to get the team. I have no idea how you make money on this. Like I assume you need to be at least in the championship division to start making money, because like there's actual TV deals there to be had, I assume. But I actually have no idea about the finances of it. I just think it's cool to own
selling
a team
beers and stuff, dude. Like we could make money on concessions, I bet.
Yeah, but you got to pay players. I mean, the way that you're going to move up is to spend a ton on players. I mean, that's how it goes in Europe. You have to spend an outrageous amount. But I do think that they're like some Moneyball approach that Preston is doing, which I think he's doing, is like trying to use analytics to make better decisions from salary, from players, from how players should be used on the field, et cetera, et cetera. That stuff is really cool to me. We're not in on those decisions really, but maybe one day down the line could be. I don't know, Bales, what do you think about this whole like crypto bro / us like owning operating teams? Seems like the dream to me, actually. Yeah,
it seems sweet. I don't know too much about it. Peter just, I think, said something about it, and then I invested in it. I like the guys in it. I like the approach. I mean, when we invested in the Breakers, the reason that I did that I thought it was stupid at my initial reaction was like, I don't want to do this. This is stupid. But it was like a cool concept. Like we own part of a professional team, and then the I believe high school players at that time were starting to not want to go to college. They had to go to, I think they still have to go to college for a year or something, or maybe now they can go to the D League or something. And it made sense. Like, well, why are they going to go to college? They're going to go try to get paid. And LaMelo went overseas, and we had RJ Hampton at the Breakers. Yeah, that thesis like made a lot of sense to me. And this one I think is like actually a better opportunity in terms of the people. I think it's like very, very like-minded people in terms of how they're going to run the team. I know nothing about soccer. But yeah, it just seems like a cool thing to do.
I mean, ideally, like owning like an actual NBA team and trying to make analytical based decisions that like we would make for DFS or whatever. Like that is the ultimate dream. Obviously, we would need, well, Peter would need Bitcoin to reach roughly $1 million.
We were going. Do you remember Peter? One of our friends was going to buy, or maybe it was a group was going to buy the New York Liberty.
Yeah, the WNBA team. We were like real close.
I think he was going to offer you the GM job.
We had talked about it. Levitan was.
So at this point, would you take a GM job for a WNBA team?
Would I have to give up ETR?
You can't bet, and I don't think you would have. I don't know.
I don't know other sports. You just couldn't bet on WNBA.
Yeah, that's fine. I've been betting on WNBA. Yeah, I would love to be the GM of a team. I thought I had some ideas for what the New York Liberty could do. They held on to Tina Charles way too long. They could have blown it up way earlier. But anyways, that's we're getting into the weeds on WNBA talk. The dozens of fans out there of WNBA. Okay, you ready to Laden? We want to leave it. People wanted more Laden. Bales always wants more Laden. I am coming off a rousing victory last week.
That was a strong victory.
Complete domination. For you guys who don't know what we're talking about, Laden is a game in which we'll ask each other questions. The goal is not to get the question right. The goal is for the two people to figure out what the third person is going to say. In other words, if I ask Peter, I don't know, how many bottles of water did Bales drink today? I'm not trying to figure out how many bottles of water Bales actually drank. It's what Peter will say. So hopefully that makes sense. It's really simple. We are, of course, gambling real dollars on this. All right. Who has a question and wants to go first?
I'll ask a question to Bales, and it's about Bales. This will be an interesting one. Bales, how many sneakers have you bought your entire life / other people bought them? So any sneakers that were bought for you by your parents your entire life?
We're talking about pairs of sneakers, not individual sneakers, obviously.
Yeah, pairs of sneakers.
Yeah.
2 is not count. 2 counts as 1.
Yeah. We need to overlay in like Jeopardy music while everybody's thinking.
That sounds like a producer job.
We don't have one of those.
I wrote the question down and I didn't really think about it.
All right.
Oh, and what? It's just sneakers. It's not like, dress shoes. It's not like cleats or whatever. It's just strictly sneakers. Basketball shoes would count.
I got a huge collection of dress shoes.
Imagine wearing dress shoes.
Dude, sneakers are in with suits now. I went to buy a suit for a wedding. Yeah, everybody's wearing sneakers with suits now. It's crazy.
Ashley gets mad at me when I want to do it, when I wear sneakers and nice clothes. And I'm like, this is the look.
You guys look like Pee Wee Herman. It sounds like Skeeter.
All right, I have an answer.
All
right. I said 137.
Oh my God. I said 147.
Wow. 300.
300?
Yeah.
I bought a lot. I bought a lot of the past.
I know he's bought a lot recently. I almost went a little higher, but then I was like,
I mean, right now, I have probably 150 pairs right now.
150 pairs that you wear right now?
No, he doesn't
wear them. I just look at them. I just like Peter's. You just look at them. Those look nice.
Lucky and good. I'm not gonna wear those.
God damn it! All right, I knew I should have gone higher. Bales is.
I had 169 written for the meme, and then I went down slightly.
All right, I have a question here. I will ask Peter. What was DraftKings net profit or loss? What was DraftKings net profit or loss on NFL props only during the 2021-22 NFL season? What was DraftKings net on NFL props? DraftKings only, net NFL only props during the
Total
2021
amount or percentage?
total amount,
And that includes the 2022 season for the Super Bowl and stuff too.
playoffs and Super Bowl. Yes, I mean player props, not game, not like how many field goals will there be in the game. I mean player props. Yeah.
I have an answer.
All right. I have an answer.
I have an answer.
Go ahead, Bales.
I mean, my answer, I have no idea. I said -$1.
I said positive 169,000 because I thought Peter would go for the 69 meme.
No, I said 5.88 up 5.8 million.
Yes, that's to me. So
I think they make money.
They lost money, Levitan?
no, I don't think they. I think they made money because anybody who was winning, they just cut
cut
off,
off.
and they get and they get a lot of like unsophisticated money on props still. Even though I think our Discord alone on ETR beat them out of millions. A lot of it due to some of it due to the Draymond Green, Draygate situation, which I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about.
That's an NBA thing.
I know they
Right.
cut people off, but like most people are not betting on props.
Right, exactly. So like I honestly think that our Discord probably won like 500K combined on props, but like those are people are like really hardcore and really into it, and they're good at getting accounts and good at keeping accounts open. Most people are just like taking overs and losing. So yeah, I think they still win on props.
I was thinking about how much. My guess is they hold like 1% to 2%. So I was trying to figure out how much money was bet on props, and maybe
Yeah, I bet it's less than that. I bet it's like 0.5% or something. But yeah.
So my number's too high. My biggest thing with DraftKings, and I think they're starting to do better. I mean, they have been pretty proactive and limiting people on certain types of bets.
Yeah, when they first switched, like the first like month, they switched from Camby to I forget what the name of their new provider is, SB Tech. They were taking like anything, like 500, 1K on props, no problem. And then like after a month of that, they went back to banning. So there was like a stretch there where you could actually bet on DraftKings during the transition. But yeah, anyways, who hasn't asked the question yet?
Bales.
I haven't.
I haven't answered yet, so I have to answer one.
I don't think it matters at this point, but okay, I'll ask you.
Oh God, Bale's just literal goal is to come up with question that I have no idea the answer to that will make me look the dumbest when I get it.
Hey, that's happened to me more than it's happened to you. You had the Lake Michigan one. I had the goats last week. I have the stars in the galaxy.
The stars one was so good.
How many pieces of chicken right now in the world are sitting on the floor of someone's home?
What?
Unique pieces of chicken are sitting on the floor.
You mean like if someone like ordered some chicken from a restaurant and they dropped it on the floor?
That could be one use case.
Gracie might have some chicken under the floor right now.
What about
he throws food everywhere?
What about live chickens? Like people have chickens like on their farm and stuff.
No.
Only
you're talking cooked chicken?
Cooked chicken. It could be raw chicken too, but it's a dead chicken.
So
and we're talking unique individual pieces. So if Gracie picks up her chicken that's already shredded up and just throws it on the ground.
That could be a lot of pieces.
That could be like 15 pieces of chicken or something.
Yeah,
20 pieces of chicken.
Maybe I mean I don't know how like finely you shred it, but
and this is around the world.
Yeah.
In the whole world. And restaurants don't count. It just has to be in someone's home.
Yeah, in someone's home.
At this exact moment in time.
Yeah. This is a good one. Because there's no way to get
Unique pieces of chicken.
All right. I have an answer.
I have an answer.
Hold on, I'm changing my answer. All right, I have my answer.
I need to put mine on my phone.
I said 480 million pieces.
Jesus. my answer, I need to write it down. It was 750,000.
What?
I said lower than both of you. I said 177,000.
Oh, I thought you were going
Yes.
to go super high. I didn't think that was the right answer. I thought you were going to go super high, Levitan, because we've always underestimated.
I know, but most people clean. If chicken gets on the floor, you clean it. You don't just leave a piece of chicken on the floor. You clean it up. What kind of animal just leaves chicken on the floor?
Well, I mean, there's many situations where you might leave chicken on the floor.
Or there's
Like what?
old chicken.
You're
from
still
the-
eating. Is one.
Well, a lot of people also have dogs. I mean, if I put a piece of chicken on the floor, Jerry's eating it in like 0.1 seconds.
480 million was an aggressive guess. I changed from 40 million.
480 million.
I was looking at how
like,
I changed from
I
40
think-
million to 480 million because I thought
that's
Adam
like
had a huge
one piece of chicken for every 15 people in the world.
I thought he was going super high.
Every person in the world right now is eating chicken and dropping it on the floor.
Everyone eats chicken. Let's not debate that. I mean, there's a lot of people eating chicken out there.
All right. We each won one in that round. We're back up to the top here. Who asked the first question? I believe
I did. I did.
You asked the first question. All right, back to you, Peter.
Okay. How many pounds of
Who are you asking?
You, Adam.
Okay.
How many pounds of feces or shit or whatever do all Americans combined create a year?
Good question. That's a good one.
Total pounds. And if we somehow could get them all out, never in the toilet, just all in one place.
You said Americans or world?
No, Americans. In America.
Americans are so fucking fat and disgusting. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get my calculator out for this one. You said over the course of a year, right?
Over the course of a year.
I think I have a pretty good guess. I have it. I have my answer.
I have my answer.
I have my answer.
Go ahead.
I said 12 trillion.
12 trillion?
Holy
I
shit.
said, hope it makes my numbers right. I have 45 billion pounds.
You guys aren't going to believe me, but 12 trillion.
No! Yes!
What?
Yes! Yo,
I can't believe that.
How'd you guys do the math? Did I miss a zero?
1 pound of shit per day per person.
I did the same exact math times 365, and then I took it in half, and that's only 109 billion.
Why'd you take it in half?
I thought you would.
Why would I take it in half?
I just thought you would. I was thinking half a pound. I did the same math though. I did the first. Huh. I think you guys added a zero
Yeah.
or multiple couple.
Yeah, we did. 12 trillion. That what is that? That's a 10x on the payment, right?
There's what, like there's like 300 million people, 400 million people.
Right, like 300 and a little bit over 300 million people.
Yeah, so you guys both did the math. Agreed. 300 million times 365, I believe, is 109 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You guys both got to 12 trillion.
Well, there's a lot of shit out there.
No, I just think you guys both made the same fucking mistake.
Dude, I didn't make any mistake.
No, it's 365 times 365 times 329 million is 12 trillion.
I don't think so. I think it's 110 billion.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You guys both did the same. God, and I did the same.
I didn't
thing.
make any mistake. My read was
329 million times 365 is 120 billion. God, unbelievable.
You gotta know who you're asking.
I don't know the difference between billion and
Well,
trillion.
you guys both did the same round map, but I also cut it in half. I mean, a pound of shit is a lot of shit per person.
Yeah, it is.
You think it's per day? You average a pound of shit?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably.
All right.
Who did I ask last time?
Think Bales?
Oh no, I asked you, Peter, because it was the props question. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I'll ask Bales this one. How many people currently alive in the world? How many people currently alive in the world have ever had sex with multiple condoms on? And this stems from a joke I made on Twitter last night, which people, first of all, I don't want to turn this into a fantasy football podcast. People who think they can predict that Christian McCaffrey is going to get hurt and Jonathan Taylor isn't this year, like, how do they come to this conclusion? Just because Christian McCaffrey got hurt last year? I mean, every running back is likely to get hurt. And I don't want to get into a big thing about it on Twitter because, yeah, it's likely that Christian McCaffrey gets hurt. It's like that every running back gets hurt, just like it's likely that Matthew Stafford, who was considered injury prone until he wasn't, Austin Eckler was considered injury prone until he wasn't. It shit fucking tilts me so bad. But anyways, how many people on earth right now alive have ever had sex with more than one condom on? I'm asking Bales. All right, I have it.
If you had sex multiple times or with double condoms, that counts as one or more.
That counts as one.
Okay. And one other clarification: if a man had sex with two condoms on, does that count as two people having sex with double condoms, or just
one? I have an answer.
I have an answer.
You ready, Peter?
God, I'm so torn here. Don't know what Bales is thinking. All right, I have an answer.
All right. I said,
go ahead.
Sorry. I said 69,000 people have had sex with more than one condom on.
I said 15 million.
15 million?
I said 7.5 million.
Yes! Bingo.
Who has sex with? That's just a joke. Nobody actually does it.
People
No,
do it.
some
I
people
hear
are
people
sure-
do it
I'm
all
sure
the time.
that- Yeah, lots of people do it.
First of all, a lot of people in countries, in non-Western countries, don't even know what a fucking condom is. Second of all, among the people who do, they're not using multiple.
I've heard. Do
do you know anyone personally who's actually?
I do.
Yeah.
Not
Why?
me personally. Not me personally, but I know someone who did. I remember they're like, "Oh yeah, the girl was real trashy. I put two condoms on."
That doesn't do anything.
No shit. We're in college.
No, that definitely does something. What are you talking about?
You mean if one breaks, you have a backup? Is that the thesis?
Yeah, that's more protection. Two condoms, of course. I've never done it myself, but that would be more protection.
15 million. Get out of here.
It's more than.
I was.
I mean, what I said is you said basically 1 in 500 people in the world, Peter. I think
Yeah,
I said 1 in 1,000.
1 in 500 don't even know what a condom is. Whatever. I'll take the
1 in 500. We more than 1 in 500 know what a condom is. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What percentage? Yeah, that's a good one. What percentage of people know what a condom is?
Not or would actually use it. People know what it is, but they don't. Nobody in fucking these crazy countries around the world use condoms.
Yeah, but you said people alive, and before, like 20 years ago, people used condoms way more.
Right.
From HIV and things like that. Now, obviously, no reason to use a condom.
But 7.5 million of you. Yeah, a lot of it goes back from 15, 20 years ago. I agree. Good.
I told the story on the solo pod about the guy I was playing cash in Vegas, and a guy says he's got a weird voice, and he's like, yeah, man, I have throat cancer, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. And he's like, yeah, I got it from eating pussy, and I was laughing, and so I told the story in the solo pod, and then a bunch of people were back to me like, no, you can actually get cancer now from like eating pussy, some like weird HPV thing. So just a warning out there to everyone. And I think it actually happened to like Michael Douglas, allegedly, the actor, says that he got throat cancer from eating pussy, which, you know,
another reason to just be selfish.
You never want to eat pussy.
All right, last one for this round. I don't think Bales has asked the question, has he? For the second round.
I think I need to answer. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think Peter needs to answer. Yeah.
Peter, how many people ever born in China were named Jose?
Haven't we done this exact question?
No, we definitely have not.
I feel like we've done this exact question.
We might have done Carlos, but we haven't done
We did Carlos. They were physically born in China.
Yeah, they were born in mainland China. Not Taiwan. I have to specify. No Taiwan.
But they don't have they don't have to necessarily be China. Like they could be on vacation and have a baby happen to be in China, not necessarily Chinese citizens.
That's a good clarification.
No,
I was already thinking about that.
Yeah. So the kid is they could be, the parents could be there. The kid is born there, and his name is Jose.
Yeah, but it could be someone who traveled there from somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is, did you say ever?
Yeah, ever.
In the history of the world.
I mean, China's fucking old country. When was China?
In the history of the world, right?
You know, there was a lot of Mexican people traveling to China 5,000 years ago.
God.
How many dynasties are we talking about?
All right, I got an answer.
Oh God.
I have an answer.
Hold on. Who were you were asking Peter, right?
Yeah.
All right. God. Getting into the mind of Peter is fucking hard. Okay.
I find it much easier than getting into your mind.
All right. You have an answer, Peter?
Yep.
I actually think it's way less than this, but I think Peter will say higher. I said 5,500.
Oh, wow. I guess.
Okay.
I said 19.
I said trace for the honor of the girls.
I was gonna say I actually
2,
thought
3, 4. I said trace 3.
Yeah,
I
there's
feel
not
pretty
many
good about
Jose's. Dude, who's
How many
going there?
people are
And then have a
traveling
kid and then be like, yeah, we want to name a Jose.
I was gonna say 0, but Peter always goes so high. It's fucking crazy.
I was tempted with 0. I thought 0, but like there has to have been someone.
Yeah.
3 is probably pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
I mean, who
No.
travels to like another country and your wife is like 8.5, 9 months pregnant?
Well, no, I think that probably there's been military there, and then I don't know what happens, but
And no, it's definitely more than 3. And also, like, do you think there's stone 0 Chinese people that name their kid Jose? It's definitely possible.
Yeah, I think it's 0.
no, I don't think.
You don't think a single Chinese person has ever named their kid Jose?
Probably not. That's absurd. I mean, maybe.
I'm looking up my name statistics on Jose here. It's the 42nd most popular name in the United States.
Well, I have the score. Bales.
Yeah, I would say over a half of Chinese people have named their kid Jose.
Nothing about China and Jose on any of these sites so far.
I have Bale. No shit. I have Bales with 3 wins, Peter with 2 wins, me with 1 win. So I come crashing back to earth here. We're going over an hour here. Do you want to do another round, or are we done?
I will always do another round.
I mean, I'll play all day.
All right, one more round, then we got to go.
Yeah, definitely got to go after this. Actually, we got to go fast.
Okay.
All right, I'll ask Levitan. How many people in the world have had a vasectomy?
Alive, or what if they died since they had
Alive.
vasectomy?
Alive. How many people who are alive today have had a vasectomy?
All right. I have an answer.
I have an answer.
All right, I have an answer.
All right, go ahead.
I said 62 million.
Oh wow! I said 751,000.
No, way more. I said 69 million.
I almost went with the 69. Damn it! I thought that. Gosh, when are you on the meme stuff, Adam? Never. Bales.
You know what? And that doesn't even make sense. My guess was bad. I think my calculator's broken.
You guys definitely screwed up the freaking pounds of shit.
Maybe the
Something is off with how I'm putting this in.
Also,
the
like
calculator on your phone doesn't work. I had to do it on my computer.
Well, I can't go up to the population of Earth. Yeah, something's up with it.
the and vasectomies are going up. Obviously. So yeah.
We could probably actually find out that answer. The pounds of shit we could probably find out too.
Yeah, you can figure that out.
All right. I am asking. I'll ask Bales. What will the price of Bitcoin be on July 9th, 2023? Exactly 1 year from now for Bales. Excuse me. For Bales, what will the price of Bitcoin be 1 year from today?
I have an answer.
I have an
answer.
All right. I said.
Go ahead.
I said $14,500.
I said 42K.
27.
Oh God, who is that?
I think it's Peter.
It's that yours is basically 2x and mine's 1.5x over. Is that right? It's a
Yeah.
multiplier.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Peter. Yeah.
That's how we always do it, right? It's
Yeah.
You multiply the difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the fair way to do it, I think.
Not being biased, I think that's how we've always said it.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Bales has to ask
Me.
Peter, I think.
Yep.
Peter, how many total hot dogs have ever been eaten by people where they haven't used their hands?
In the history of the world?
Yeah.
You mean like fork and knife or like a dog?
I was thinking only like a dog.
Fork and knife is a big game changer.
You know what? We'll do fork and knife as well.
All right, say it one more time.
How many people how many total hot dogs have ever been eaten in the history of humanity where the person did not touch any part of it with their hands?
God.
So fork and knife, to be clear, counts.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you've eaten 100 hot dogs with a knife and fork, that counts as 100, or just one person?
That's 100.
Probably some people out there who can eat hot dogs with their feet too.
People without arms. So.
Yeah, well, certainly that crew of people.
I mean, so now we got to calculate that.
How many total hot dogs? God.
I have an answer.
All right, I have an answer.
Me too.
Go ahead, Bales.
I said 7 million.
Oh God, I think it's way more than that. I said 20 billion.
I said 420 million.
That's me.
God, man.
No, wait.
Do you-
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Do you guys know how many hot dogs are eaten per year? It's and I only know this because they say it every time Joey Chestnut is up there. They're like, "Do you know Americans eat like bazillion hot dogs per year? Like it's so disgusting how many hot dogs get eaten."
Hang on. What did you say, Levitan? You said 420 million, Peter?
Yeah, it's going to be close, I think.
Okay, so it was a 60x for me. What'd you say?
20 billion with a B.
That would be
Hold on.
20 billion would be 410 times. Oh, dude, it's so close. I think you win by a small multiple. I think you're like a 50 or 40 something, right?
I need it.
And I was a 60. I think, right?
It's like 40 times 47x, right? Ish, 48x.
For Levitan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was higher. He won.
All right, ship it to me. Final from today. I won 2. Peter won 4. Bales won 3. All right. Appreciate everyone being here for this very professional 3 Donkeys episode. As I said, I'll be out of town this week upcoming, but we'll hopefully get another episode going when we get back. And then once we're kind of all settled in here for NFL, which will start in August, I think we'll be able to do much more regular cadence here and get a night where everybody can join in and hang out in the chat and stuff like that while we do these. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you saw my tweet, me and Peter will be at the View House on July 21st. Also, Lauren will be there. My wife, I believe Ashley's going to be there. Peter's wife.
Lauren's definitely coming?
Yeah.
Perfect. Then Ashley will go.
Yeah, so you guys feel free to bring your significant other to the View House for the ETR party, but make sure you RSVP because we need to let them know how many people are coming, and there is a cap on how many people can come. So please only RSVP if you are 100% coming. But there's no real agenda for this. We're just gonna hang out and have a few beers, a few laughs, and that's it. No agenda. Build a community, as the crypto bros would say. We're gonna build the community at the View House. All right. For Peter, for Bales, for Jerry, for producer Adam, I am Adam. Good luck, everybody.